proven this concept. We've made it very accessible for early career hiring, made it very easy for you to implement. It's very low cost. It's meant to be very low lift. And in this day and age, when recruiting budgets are being cut and there's AI coming in and just all these changes happening with early career recruiting, we just make it very easy for you to both capture the data that your leadership is looking for and to really start to realize the cost savings of recruiting using micro internships. And so we'll talk more about what a micro internship is as well. So, in short, these are bite-sized professional paid projects. These are not meant to be like an internship light. They're not meant to replace your traditional internship program or tell you you don't need it anymore. They're meant to be a resource for supplementing and enhancing it and getting better access to good quality students. So, in short, these are short-term projects. They're typically run anywhere between 10 to 40 hours worth of total work. They can be done year round, so we have no blackout dates, no deadlines. They don't need to be tied to a semester or a class or anything like that. Micro internships are typically remote. So most of the time the student is doing the project and then will turn in the work to you by the deadline. All micro internships end with a deliverable. And so the student will hand something over to you as a result of their work. All work is then owned by you. So our students sign an NDA. They're on our payroll the entire time. We handle the administrative burden. We simply invoice you for the cost per project. And so we keep it very easy. If you post a project in our platform and you don't get any candidates that you like or you don't find the right fit, there's no fee to have done that. You can go ahead and close out the project and you will not see any sort of invoice. The only time there's a cost associated is if you post a project and hire a student for that project. We have no other subscription fees or membership charges or anything like that. And if you find a student that you're interested in hiring after the project, we don't charge any sort of conversion fees or anything like that. Again, Parker Dewey is the employer of record during the entire project. So the student's on our payroll. We handle the 1099 process if that is applicable, and any issues that might come up with the student. You also aren't having to worry about spending time doing onboarding or training. These are meant to be very low lift and easy for you. We will help you come up with project ideas, and then the student will turn in that work at the end. So, I want to talk about a couple of the primary reasons why employers are using Parker Dewey. We really see three primary use cases. If you have recruiting needs, beneficial first and foremost with confirming fit and hiring with confidence. And so, here's where you might want to think about a micro internship almost as an audition. You see lots of resumes that look the same if you're going to campus or you're going to a recruiting event. Then how do you know if student A is a better fit than student B if they have very similar backgrounds and similar GPAs? Well, why not give the student a 15 or 20-hour micro internship project that not only confirms their ability to do what you're asking of them in your more permanent role or your internship, but it also shows their soft skill abilities, which is something that you can't get just from looking at a resume. You're seeing how proactive are they in their follow-up, their attention to detail. Are they turning the deliverable in on time? Are they responding to your questions? You're getting a chance to try before you buy, if you will, before you make the investment in them as a hire. Secondly, employers use micro internships as a way to build your talent pipeline and build that brand awareness. This is especially a useful case if your organization is struggling with your recruiting costs or your budget's being cut. You're not going to as many schools. You're not planning to visit any schools on campus in the fall. You're just not able to, or you're trying to target different or younger students. And so we often hear, especially on the younger student side, by the time a student gets to their junior year or senior year, they've already kind of made their decisions about their major and have maybe even shortlisted some companies. But we see so many organizations that are looking to connect with students earlier on in their college career. And also, we want to help our students as well and make sure that they're able to confirm their major choice. So by offering a micro internship project that's low stakes to a freshman or a sophomore, you're able to kind of build them into your pipeline and make them more aware of your organization as a hiring option down the road once they hit that junior or senior year. If you're not going to be going on campus at all, we see a lot of employers do even campus ambassadors or brand ambassador types of micro internships where the student can talk about your internship, your brand, your organization, your opportunity to their peers, to faculty, to their student orgs. Just engage on campus and let students know that you're out there. Prior to working at Parker Dewey, I spent a long time working in career services in the higher ed world at different colleges and universities. I can very much confirm that students like to talk amongst themselves, and word of mouth is really powerful. So, building your talent pipeline with a micro internship is a great way. You may also be on this call as an employer that just needs to get some stuff done. You're just looking for some support, one-time project. Maybe you have an event coming up and you need a brochure created. You're looking to crunch some numbers, generate some lists, get some social media content created. The get stuff done use case is a great way to get support. The student is still getting paid. They're still getting the relevant work experience that they can put on their resume, and you're getting that job completed, but you're not having to worry about the hassle of hiring because, again, the student is on our payroll the entire time. We handle that administrative burden for you. So when you're getting help on a project, you're also getting lots of insight into our candidate intelligence platform. Our employers are looking beyond the individual assignment to leverage it as a key part of your recruiting efforts. It helps build relationships with students on campus, get insights on their skills, deepening the relationship between you and Cal State Northridge, better understanding your cost per hire, which in today's economy, I'm sure your leadership is asking a lot about that. And also to build relationships and expand them with other schools if you're looking to do that as well. But really focusing on those first two use cases using Parker Dewey, which was the confirming fit and building your pipeline, you can see that this works really well. You can see first, this is a very cost-effective way to recruit early career talent when you're making hiring decisions based on real insight and not just through hypotheticals or a quick resume glance. At a crowded event or a brief, 15-minute phone screen, you're able to make better hiring decisions. There's less opportunity to make bad hires when you hire with Parker Dewey. Again, it makes it very easy for employers to connect with college talent. You can recruit year round. You don't have to worry about aligning it to a semester or a class or anything like that. So again, we're not asking you as a recruiter or a hiring manager to revamp your entire recruiting efforts with what you're already doing here on campus. Rather, we want you to think about micro-internships as something that makes each step in your process much more meaningful. It makes sense to happen within your existing efforts. So a few examples. So for example, we're in the spring now, the semester's winding down. You're probably starting to think about the busy fall recruiting season, maybe thinking about coming to an upcoming career fair, investing in maybe time away from the office, the travel, the materials. And so you come to the fair, you meet a ton of great students, but then you find that they don't follow up with you after to actually apply for your opportunities. It's not that they're not interested, it's that they don't really understand how that process works. Or, you're talking to a lot of companies in the event and they forget about that one great conversation that they had with you. Try offering micro internships as a next step, as a tactical next step for the students to try so that when they leave your booth, you're saying, hey, if you're really interested in our company, we're offering a 10-hour micro internship. And, you can use it to sort of audition through all the great candidates that you meet, but the students getting a chance to show extra interest, putting that extra effort in applying to these projects, that you'll then be able to sort of differentiate between the general crowd that you met and those, 10 or 20 students that are really specifically interested in your organization. You can also post projects before even setting foot on campus so that the time you arrive on campus, you're now, again, that second example of using this to build your talent pipeline. Students are much more aware of your organization and are excited to come talk to you because they just applied for one of your projects. So it's a really great way to kind of continue to engage with what you're already doing with your process, but enhancing it to make it better for your needs. I also want to make sure we have a really good understanding of how this exactly fits with that confirming fit and hire with confidence goal. And so we will work with you to design a micro internship that meets your goals. We're not expecting you to figure it all out on your own. A great way to get started is by sending us one of your entry level existing job descriptions or internship descriptions. We can sort of take it, unpack it, and help create a micro internship project. So in this case, with this entry level data marketer role, we created a competitive campaign analysis project. We are not asking you to hand over the keys to your office. We're not asking for the student to get access to your client list or your passwords or anything like that. You're seeing by offering a research project, the student can easily handle this type of project using data and information that's available without having to access your internal tools. Again, because they're doing a short-term project, you're not putting them on your payroll or having them go through your processes internally. So, and then as a result, you're getting insight into multiple skills, which you're looking for to better confirm that fit so that you know when you make a hire that you're making a really solid hire the first time around. I also want to give a real life example of one of our clients who's given us permission here to talk to chat about this, but Smith and Nephew. And so, what does this look like in practice? And so, great company. They have a really good rotational leadership development program, but didn't necessarily have the brand awareness among students. And so they decided to, with us, we created an easy project for them. They simply said, hey, students, here is a list of all of our product lines. Pick one and create a pitch deck. And so they were able to determine first who was showing genuine interest in the opportunity. The students, again, that took the time to apply to the project, that gave thoughtful answers, that had good communication skills, that were error-free in their submission and their deliverable. And so when that project was done, not only did Smith and Nephew have some great insight, outside opinions on their products, courtesy of these students, but they had actual real insights and data on how the students would perform in the job in real time. They had 12 micro interns who auditioned for the role. And as a result, they were able to make 6 full-time offers with 5 accepted offers. This was all accomplished for less than 40% of the typical hiring costs. And then over a year later, 100% of these students were still working for Smith and Nephew. And then for those employers on the call today that maybe don't have a specific hiring need today, but want to make sure that students are still interested and aware of you and can kind of get into that pipeline, here's a couple of examples of how employers have used this to build really with very straightforward projects. And so Train Technologies love that campus ambassador idea. They were able to keep their name in front of students' eyes, even if they weren't going to be able to come to campus. And then Northrop Grumman, really well-known organization, but they were struggling to find students for roles where maybe the students, like they weren't in the engineering space or the technical space, which is kind of the how students often thought of them as that type of opportunity. And so they decided to post a project in HR and kind of left it open to a variety of student backgrounds. And so one of our great Parker Dewey micro interns had logged into the platform, was taking a spin around, hadn't really fully thought through what their final major was going to be, but said, HR, this is interesting. They had never heard of Northrop Grumman before, but they said, I kind of like this project. I'm going to go for it. And so you see a little quote from the student over here in the corner. I wasn't familiar with Northrop Grumman at all before finding this micro internship. I had no idea how big of a company this was. So again, by taking a chance on a low stakes project with Northrop Grumman, which is obviously a major company and has lots of opportunity, the student not only became interested in HR as a career path, but also interested in Northrop Grumman as an employer of choice. More than half of our micro interns who take our post survey report that awareness of a company that they weren't familiar with was one of the primary outcomes. So when you're trying to build relationships with certain schools or certain groups of students here at Cal State Northridge, or you're just looking to try something different to stand out in the crowd of employers, this is really a great way to go about it. And here you get a look at the real impact and the numbers. So great for reaching different demographics. 80% of the students that complete micro internships come from underrepresented backgrounds. This is an especially impressive statement when you compare to students who complete traditional paid internships. When we look at that data, barely a quarter of paid internships are being completed by students um, from from this historically underrepresented backgrounds. And look at the cost savings here. You're seeing nearly a 40 to 80% savings, and the retention rate is almost 100%. And so by giving students opportunities to work on these projects and paying them to do it, it leads to more time and cost effectiveness with hiring and creates more equitable hiring opportunities. I also want to make clear for those of you that are on the call that are small business owners, local government, nonprofits, startups, just a small organization that maybe hasn't yet done much with Cal State Northridge and is looking to start to even think through what does on-campus recruiting look like? What are my options? I want to make very clear that Parker Dewey is for companies and organizations of all shapes and sizes. We work with startups or one-person organizations, nonprofits, government, all the way up to major Fortune 500 companies. So there's a role and an opportunity for you to explore micro internships, no matter the size of your company or the size of your recruiting needs. So again, for those get stuff done folks, that's a third use case. I look at my own to-do list over here. It would sure be nice to have a micro intern come in and help me get some things off my plate. Maybe you have a one-time need, an annual fundraiser that you just need somebody to create some graphic design work, or you're looking to update your website, or you'd like somebody to create a content list of social media posts for a month. A get stuff done type of micro internship is a great way. Doesn't take up a lot of your time. You don't have to worry about onboarding a student, and the student is still getting great work experience and an opportunity to get paid for their work and to put something on their resume as well. So how do I post a micro internship? It's really easy. We make it very straightforward for you. First, let's think about what your project is going to look like. Again, are you looking to hire? Are you recruiting? Do you have some on-demand work? Whatever that might be. We will help you come up with your project idea. We can help you draft ideas. You can reach out to me directly and we can talk through this together. Students will have to apply to the project. So this is all done on the Parker Dewey platform. So we don't just say, hey, you have to work with this student. The student applies just like they would for a traditional job, and you have the opportunity to review all the candidates. You're welcome to set up a quick phone screen or an interview if you like, or you can just go ahead and select the student in the platform based on their application. From there, the work gets done. And so we do recommend a quick kickoff call with a student just to put a face to the name, talk through the project, talk through the deliverable. And then from there, the student can get started. Because a lot of these projects are remote, they will often kind of work in the background. If you prefer to be in more regular contact with the student, we certainly have plenty of employers that set up check-in calls with the student if that's what you would like to do. You have that flexibility to decide how involved or not you want to be during the course of the project. I'm going to stop the share for just a second. I've been talking a lot. Just want to see if there's any questions that have popped up or anything like that. Take a look at the chat. All right. I'm not seeing any at the moment, but feel free if you'd like. I'm going to show you what it looks like to post a project and just what the platform looks like. We do have a micro-internship project library. It's right on our website. It just, by no means are you stuck on just these projects. We have, all sorts of custom projects that we can work with you on, but it gives you a chance to kind of think through some ideas. And so just for fun today, I'm going to choose human resources. And this was a campus club research project. So I'm going to click into this template and take a look. This is what the inside of the Parker Dewey platform looks like. So it shows you what it will look like when you're ready to post your project. So in this case, you can make any modifications to the start and the end date that you're looking for. In this section here, this is where you're going to want to put a little bit more information about your organization, what you're looking for the student to do, and then the final deliverable. So in this case, this was kind of pre-set up that they would identify 10 on-campus clubs, faculty members, and contacts. And then for each, they gave them some designated steps that they wanted the student to take. You can include where you're located, if the project is going to be remote or on site. You'll always see your costs up front. So again, we never charge a subscription fee or anything like that to use the platform. Parker Dewey retains 10% of the total project cost. And again, that's to cover our costs and the cost of having the students on our books and doing all the administrative burden. And then the student receives 90% of the fee. So in this case, this project is going to cost you $444.44. The student will receive $400. The student only will see what they are going to earn. They will never see what you pay for the project. So just so you know. But again, you can make any adjustments that you need to make here. We're ideally looking for all projects to be paid between $20 to $25 an hour, the equivalent of that. If you want to include any relevant skills, you can, like, social media is a skill if you're looking for a social media project. That's just an example, or you can kind of remove that and just leave it blank. In schools here, you can absolutely limit it to just students that go to Cal State Northridge, or local schools or whatever you want to do, but it's really easy to spotlight projects directly for students that attend school here as it enhances your recruiting needs. You can also open up your projects to students who have recently graduated if you want to. And then down here, you're going to also include some application questions as well. So this first one, why do you think we should select you for the opportunity? This remains in place for all projects. It's a standard question that we ask all students, and it's really telling. Sometimes a student might answer it just, well, because it sounds good, and that's not a great answer. Another student might take the time to look into your organization and really think about why they're interested in the project and come up with some comprehensive answer. That's going to be much more relevant for when you're thinking about hiring them. And then, of course, you're welcome to add a question or two of your own, something that's relevant to what you're looking for the project. And then you just post it. And then that's pretty straightforward. Most projects go live within 48 hours. We have a human operations team, not an AI agent, but actual people, US based, that will review every project that goes into the Parker Dewey platform before it goes live. And so if there's any issues or concerns or problems with the project or anything like that, they will always reach out to you directly so that you sort of, have that connection as well. And then the last thing I want to share is going back into the presentation, what you should do next as we wrap up. So again, my email address is right here. I'm just emily@parkerdewey.com. Happy to add that to the chat as well. Your next steps, if you're thinking about looking to use Parker Dewey to confirm fit and hire with confidence or build your talent pipeline, schedule some time to chat with me. We can talk through strategy and make sure you're accessing Cal State Northridge students and the best way possible. If you're just a get stuff done person and you're like, I just need help with this one project, go right ahead and start posting your projects. But of course, I'm very happy and available to support you with any questions or concerns or things that may come up as well. And so I'm about ready to wrap up. I will stay on for any questions that come up. I'm going to just stop the share. I'm going to put my email in the chat, and I will stay on for any questions that may have come up. Okay. I'm not seeing any questions. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, but thank you again to Esther and team at Cal State Northridge. We're so happy that we got a chance to connect with all of you employers today. Again, Emily at parkerdewey.com for any individual questions, or I'm ready to get started. What do I do? But we're just really happy to have Cal State Northridge as a partner and looking forward to working with you all. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.